Wolves travel to Anfield this week, the start of a busy week of fixtures for Wolves, facing off against Liverpool away from home on Wednesday, and then a home task against Spurs on Saturday as well. Today we're going to be previewing the game against Liverpool. As always, guys, do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below ahead of this game. The fourth time that we'll be playing Liverpool this season, fourth time, and I think it's about 6 or 7 weeks. But it's going to be another tricky game for Wolves. It's one win, one draw and one loss so far in the 3 games that we've played. Of course, 2 of those were in the FA Cup. Should have been a win in the first FA Cup game, let's be honest. But the more important one, the Premier League game, we beat Liverpool very comfortably a couple of weeks ago. But I think it will be a different challenge for Wolves. I think it will be tougher with it being away from home. Liverpool have got a couple of players back, Virgil van Dijk, Diogo Jota, possibly Canate as well. So their defence is going to look very different to what it was at Molineux a couple of weeks ago. So I think it is going to be a very different challenge for Wolves. Now, the interesting one for Wolves, some interesting team news, which is obviously good as well. Matheus Cunha, who came off injured on Friday at Fulham with an ankle injury. Wolves had scans on it over the weekend. As always, we feared for the worst. It looked quite a sore one. But Lopetegui has confirmed today that Cunha is okay. It's a little bit touch and go whether he's going to be available for this game against Liverpool, but a decision will be made tomorrow before they travel up to Anfield. Another player that could well possibly take his place in the squad at least is Pedro Neto. Of course, we've seen him get minutes for the 21s over the last couple of weeks or so. He's getting closer to coming back to first team football. Lopetegui appreciates he's not quite fully ready yet, so it's going to take him some time to get up to speed, but he's definitely an option for Wolves. Hwang Hee-chan, still a couple of weeks away at the moment until he's going to be ready to get back into action. Boubacar Traore, probably in the same sort of position. He's very close to coming back. We did see him back in light training, but he's taken a minor setback, so it might be another week or so before he's back in competitive football. And Chiquinho as well is back in light training, but it's a long, long way before we're going to see him. Now, in regards to my predicted lineup, guys, it's an interesting one, this game. I think we could see a very similar team to what played Liverpool last time, a couple of weeks ago. But I've gone with this as my team. Jose Sarr in goal. I've gone with an unchanged back four of Hugo Bueno, Kilman, Dawson and Semedo, but you could so easily, I think, see Ryan Ait-Nouri in there as well. He's dealt with Liverpool so well. Whenever we've played them, really, including last season. A midfield three, I think Neves is a cert to start. I think Lamina will definitely start. I would assume Nunez will get the nod as well. A lot of eyes are going to be on him, obviously, with Liverpool so heavily interested in him. And then the front three is an intriguing one. I think Sarabia, again, will definitely start. I've gone with Jimenez and Adama Traore. I've gone with Adama just because I think Wolves on the counter-attack, it could be a big plus. And Jimenez, I think, did enough against Fulham on Friday to warrant getting himself a start. So let's wait and see. It's going to be a very interesting game. We've never beat Liverpool in the Premier League at home since we've been back in the league. Of course, we beat them in the FA Cup away under Paul Lambert a few years ago, and we've beaten them in the FA Cup more recently as well since we've been promoted. But at Anfield, it's always a very, very difficult time. But we've played them at weird times. We've always played them towards the end of the season. This is a slightly different time. Liverpool are still, morale-wise and form-wise, fairly low, although they're keeping a decent amount of clean sheets. So it will be an interesting game. But if Wolves can come out on the other side of this with getting something out of the game, I think it's going to be a real boost for us, especially going in to the game against Spurs on Saturday. Of course, we have got the BetMate pots as well for this game. It's the Premier League doubleheader. Of course, with the FA Cup on, there's not many Premier League midweek games, but with the Premier League doubleheader this week, which contains Liverpool, Wolves and Arsenal versus Everton. My team, I've gone with Ramsdale in goal. I've gone with a Liverpool back two of Robertson and Trent, although that may well change depending on how I'm feeling before the game. Ruben Neves in midfield with Martin Odegaard of Arsenal, with Martinelli and Bukayo Saka up front as well. So pretty heavy Arsenal in there. Not putting too much faith in the Wolves-Liverpool game. But as always, guys, you can get involved in that. A link to join is in the top of the description. And please do gamble aware, 18 plus and UK residents only. But Matt did our opposition preview this week. He spoke to AGT from the Cop TV to get his thoughts on Liverpool's season so far and his thoughts ahead of this game at Anfield.
Alex, thanks for joining us, mate. Been a funny old season for Liverpool, hasn't it? It's not reached the heights of fighting for quadruples like last season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can sustain that every year. United think that they're on for a quadruple this year, but not the proper one that we were going for.
15 seconds in.
Yeah, no, get them out of the way early doors, mate. Why not? Do you know what, bro? You know, through my work on DR Sports, I get the most pelters every week saying, look how negative he is about United. But what do you want? Like, am I supposed to like them? Like, what do you want from me? It's like people having to go at you for being negative about your main rival. Like, you're hardly going to, it's like, you know, if your missus gets a new fella, you're hardly going to go and buy him a pint every Friday night, are you?
Well, you're not telling me.
Well, I hope not. No, but I'm not complimentary of them. But no, in terms of Liverpool, I mean, brother, you were there the day I was contemplating that quadruple. We could have won the league, mate. If you would, because you were there on the last day of the season at Anfield, we almost won the league. If we had won the league, you would have had to have come out of me that night as a Liverpool fan. Like, can you imagine the scenes in the city centre on that night?
I'd have been straight home.
Straight in the merchant blood, straight down the grapes.
What's happened this season? Because I mean, is it lack of investment, injuries? Is Klopp losing his touch?
It's about 5 things. It's lack of investment, it's injuries, it's lack of in-game management, lack of tactical awareness to maybe change things when things aren't going so well, massive drop-off in form. All these things combined. But I think the main one that was in our control. I mean, the drop-off in form isn't necessarily in our control. The injuries, shit happens. But the one that was in our control that we didn't do was invest. Klopp came out last week and said in his presser that he knows they're going to have to go massive. That's what he said, go massive in the summer. So that's encouraging, right? But we've got to get to summer first. And I mean, like, you know, Venn diagrams, right? And then you've got the bit in the middle. On this circle, I shouldn't really do that. But on this circle here, it's write the season off. This circle here is go and get top 4. It seems like every week I'm in the middle of those two circles because 1 minute I'm saying, go on, yeah, Robbie, we can get top 4. And then I'm going back there the next week saying, no, it's all over. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's entertaining. You know, that's a plus, I guess. Means I might be able to have a bit of a holiday this year if we don't go so far in all the competitions. So it's one of them. Listen, the summer's so crazy big for Liverpool, man. It's arguably the biggest summer in Liverpool's last 5 to 6 years in terms of if we are going to have Klopp at the helm and we are going to do this rebuild, then this is the time when you sort it all out. So can we sort the ownership out? Can we get investment? Remains to be seen, man.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask next. I know you spent quite a considerable amount of money on Darwin Nunez in the summer. Was he your only signing in the summer?
Calvin Ramsey came, and obviously Darwin came as well. I'm such a big fan of Darwin Nunez. I mean, I don't know if you've. Yeah. I mean, I love this guy, and I've been saying it since when he joined that eventually he will come good. And we're seeing that now. You know, he scored 13 goals this season. I interviewed Ian Rush recently, just picked that name off the floor. And he said, I went 9 games without scoring when he first joined Liverpool. So imagine if Nunez scored in his first game against Fulham away. I don't know how he would have survived going 9 without a goal. So Ian Rush was right. You know, he's going to come good. And I've always said next season, I actually had made a joke as well the other day. I said, he's the kind of kid, right? He's got everything you need. He's got the power, the strength, the shithousery. He's got the...
Piece it all together.
But it's almost like get Robbie Fowler and him for the whole summer and just teach him how to finish, be clinical. Because I was thinking, who's the best guy to do that? Owen wouldn't get the job, would he? Torres is Torres might do it, but I think Fowler was a lot more of an accomplished finisher than all of the strikers that Liverpool have had, maybe apart from Suarez, maybe similar level. But he needs to really knuckle down in the summer and work on that finishing, because once he locks that down, we are genuinely looking at a 30 to 40 goal all comp season for him next year. So
yeah, well, we thought you'd turned a corner a little bit after the after the Everton game and the fixture previous to that. Do you feel like that's a bit of a false dawn for Liverpool, or can you see improvements?
Well, I mean, when you get beat 5-2 by Real Madrid, you're saying, well, it was a massive kind of false dawn. But I mean, I don't like to take positives out of a 0-0 draw against Palace, because we've beaten them the last 7 times we've been there. They haven't won a game this season. It's not on that we didn't win that game, but we did get a third clean sheet in a row. So it's almost like, well, defensively, you could argue it's been a little bit better. But still, we need to score more goals. We've lacked on the goal front this year, and I think defensively we need to be a lot more astute. You saw what happened to us at Molineux a few weeks ago, mate, which was one of the worst performances I've ever seen under Jurgen Klopp. He was doing this to the fans, wasn't he? Yeah. At the end of the game, which is always a bad sign, as we know. So yeah, listen, we've got to turn this around, and if we win against Wolves on Wednesday night, going into that United game on Sunday, then we could be saying, well, actually, it wasn't a false dawn; it was just a small blip. But yeah, some massive games ahead for Liverpool in the Premier League for sure.
Yeah, let's turn our attention to the game Wednesday. It's the 4th time we've played Liverpool this season. Thankfully, the last, because I know Alex, you're as sick as I am of the fixture.
Do you know what I mean? It's just too much. 4 times.
Yeah, it's but like I was saying on your preview, usually when we're playing Liverpool, I'm dreading it, but you know, the result we had at Molineux gives us a little bit of confidence. But how do you see the game going on Wednesday? Is there anyone from Wolves that you worry about?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on paper, I said on the Cop TV, on paper, when you look at Traore, can always cause issues. I know he's inconsistent, but Costa's still there, can score goals if he wants to turn up. You've got Jimenez, Neto, Podence. I'm sure I'm missing out more. So there's
Sarabia, Wang,
Sarabia.
But Wang and Neto are still injured,
Wang,
or getting back to fitness. So,
but the squad on paper is maybe an 8th to 9th position squad, I would say.
Yeah.
But Sarabia as well. I saw him play at the World Cup for Spain. Saw him score goals. I know he scored the other day, and he's created a lot of chances since he's come in to the team. But I suppose maybe the weak point is maybe the defense with Wolves. Again, solid, experience, youthful mix in there. You look at Craig Dawson, again, scored against us. He was scoring against us for West Brom, mate, in 2013.
Don't mention him on here.
So, yeah, sorry. So we've got to deal with him. Set pieces, you really hurt us the other week. But it's the midfield that's the big... I mean, our midfield, as we know, needs massive operation done to it. But that midfield, the balance you've got between Lamina, Neves and Nunez, that's scary, mate. And I think if you get the ball and pop it around and stretch our midfield, then you're going to get chances. Normally, maybe a couple of years ago, I'd say this should be a fairly routine Liverpool win. But if we don't start well, which we haven't really been doing in Premier League games recently, then it could be a really frustrating, difficult, annoying kind of night where we just don't get the 3 points. But again, going into that United game on Sunday, if we can get 3 points here, then we're a lot more confident. But it's all about that midfield on Wednesday night, mate, because you've got some very, very technically gifted footballers there.
How do you think Liverpool will line up on Wednesday night? I know you've got obviously depletion in midfield, but how can you see Klopp lining up?
I think he goes with the same formation, which has had question marks over it, the 4-3-3. I alluded to earlier his in-game management, which sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of maybe making the wrong subs, in terms of maybe not really going for games. But I think he's pretty tied when it comes to players that he can use in that midfield. I think you're looking at Bajcetic for sure. You're looking at Hendo, who again, I mean, he literally blocked a free kick that was going in the top corner from Trent the other night, so that didn't look good. And then the third name, I mean, it'd probably be Fabinho, mate, but he's been a walking red card this season. He's fallen off a cliff, so there's not other many names around. I mean, you could play Harvey Elliott, scored a great goal against Wolves recently. I actually think he'll probably prefer him to Fabinho. And then it's Gakpo, Salah, and Nunez, which again is starting to have signs of a really positive kind of fluid relationship between the three, like David Hay and his couple of missuses.
He's got it
Don't know where
easy,
that
innit,
came
mate?
from.
He's got it easy.
Yeah, what a life, eh? But that's the team that will go with the defense. Maybe Kanate comes back in. Trent and Robbo are obviously shoe-ins, and Van Dijk's back now, so that's the team.
Can I press you for a prediction, mate? Can you see it? Can you see Liverpool win, or do you think it's, as you said, going to be one of those nights where it's going to be a
You know what,
frustrating one?
bro? It's all about the start. I actually saw a quote which doesn't help our argument for finishing games well either, which is if you can't start well or finish well, then you've got no chance. But I saw a stat and it said Stefan Bajcetic has scored the only goal that Liverpool have scored plus 50 minutes onwards for the last 13 games. So that shows you we don't finish well. It's a head and a heart thing. My head's saying this is going to be a really frustrating 1-1 draw where it's time wasting. But it's not even us blaming that. It's, well, we should have done more to win the game. But my heart's saying we show everyone what we're capable of again with a big 3-1 win going into that United game on Sunday. But I can't look past the quality you've got. And obviously we're trying to buy some of these lads as well. So mate, I'm really torn between a slim Liverpool win and a really frustrating draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd speak for most Wolves fans who would take the draw. Now Liverpool aren't the side that they were last season, but it's still an incredibly tough place to go, and you're starting to get your a lot of your team back fit. Just before we go, mate, will Jota be available?
Yeah, Jota has obviously come back from injury recently. Former Wolves player, I think he scored 17 and 40 in the Prem for Wolves. And he's obviously increased his record at Liverpool. Listen, such a great player. I mean, since he's come back from injury, he's not looked great. Maybe there's a bit of a mental block because he is quite physical as well. This is the thing that people don't give Jota credit for.
Bulldog, isn't he?
He is a bulldog, mate, and he will throw himself around. But I think against Madrid when he came on, he looked a little bit like he was pussyfooting out of challenges. And then obviously he should have scored against Palace. He had a couple of chances there and probably could have had a hat-trick as well, by the way, away at Newcastle last week. But he's the kind of player, once you score one with him, mate, his goggles go on and it's focus mode. It's can I get 2, can I get 3 in a game? And you know all about that. So I think maybe doesn't start. I mean, it depends if Nunez comes back from this shoulder injury in time. If he doesn't, then I would play Jota through the middle. But such a great player, and we love him, mate. You know the famous Jota song that we've got for him. We love him at Liverpool.
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't look the same kind of player and still needs a bit of fitness, then you can come back to Molineux on loan for next season if he wants to build up a bit of confidence.
Listen, we've just named all your strikers. You don't need him, mate.
No, I think a lot of them be going, but he's one player that they just haven't replaced, and it's difficult to replace such a great player. But Alex, thanks for coming on, mate. Massive thanks. Always good to see you. Where can people find you and the COP TV should they wish to?
Should they wish to is the first question.
Yes,
good caveat that. No, listen, COP TV. Every day we upload a video on there. As we've said, loads of Wolves content on there as we've played you so much. Couple of bad reactions from me after losing 3-0, obviously. But DR Sports on there every week as well. Do the Saturday football show, do watch-alongs. I'm doing the Classico watch-along on Thursday night. That'll be fun. And then, I appear here, there and everywhere really on various other platforms and whatnot. So I'm trying to be that guy that you just can't miss at the minute, who you're just seeing everywhere. But you know how it is, bro. You have great weeks and then you have quieter weeks, and that's how it goes. But yeah, that's where you can find me if you want. All right.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
So big thanks to Matt for sorting out the opposition preview today. I'll be sure to leave a link to the COP TV in the description down below. And do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys, as well. Be sure to hit the like button. Let us know your score predictions. Subscribe to the channel. We're fast approaching 15,000 subscribers now. And over the last week or so, we've marked our 5th anniversary as a YouTube channel as well. So still loving every minute of it. Still loving making this content for you guys. And of course, I do appreciate the support. But until next time, fingers crossed 3 points for Wolves. And I'll catch you guys very, very soon.